to everyone attending this program. On behalf of the organizing committee, I am welcoming you all to Ignite the Student Mentorship Program. We are in the 4th week Ignite and today is the 17th session. There are 3 speakers today. Ms. Bhuvana, who is a Principal Software Development Engineer in Test and Symphony Communication Service, USA, and Ms. Amoudhavally, Associate Director, National University of Singapore. Ms. Bhuvana Krishnamurthy is an alumnus of 1992 batch of Computer Science Engineering. She has worked across the several domains such as database network management, enterprise security across companies such as Oracle, Cisco, Dell, Hewlett-Packard in various capacity. She is currently working as engineering manager in Google USA. Ms. Anitha, an alumnus of 1992 batch of Computer Science Engineering. She has almost 20 plus year experience in leading quality engineering in electronic commerce chat service and network application in companies like Yahoo, PayPal, and startups like Evernote, and had worked extensively in e-commerce, financial systems, and payment gateways and processes. She is very much experienced in designing and developing his very much experience in designing and developing scalable and easy to use test harness and automation frameworks. She is currently working in USA as a Principal Software Development Engineer in Test Symphony Communication Service, USA. We now request her to guide us on the career opportunities available in IT industry.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Madhu. That was very nice. I'm Anitha Vaidyanathan. And like Madhu just mentioned, I did my undergrad in computer science and engineering in Annamalai University and graduated in the year 1992. And I grew up in Chidambaram. I spent pretty much my whole life up until I graduated. I did my schooling there in Government Girls Higher Secondary School. And my parents, Dr. Katpaka Kanapati and my mom, Dr. Meenakshi, they both worked in Annamalai University as well. Currently, I live in California in San Francisco Bay Area, also known as the Silicon Valley. Shortly after I graduated from Annamalai University, I moved here and I did my master's here in computer science. I started my career in software engineering at Sun Microsystems. And since then, I have worked in a mix of big and small companies like PayPal and Yahoo. And currently, I'm working as a principal engineer at Symphony Communication Services. It's a chat services company with focus in the financial sector. So today, between me and my friend Bhuvana here, we are going to talk some topics that might be useful to you, like coming to the United States, like some of the career options that are available in IT, some of the career paths that you may choose, and some skill sets that might be useful for you, and how is it working like in startups, and how to face interviews. These are some of the topics that we are going to talk about today. First, I would like to talk a little bit about coming to the US. There are usually 2 common options that are available. The first one is coming here to pursue higher education. As most of you know, they are required to take the GRE and TOEFL examinations. But due to the pandemic now, I heard some universities have waived that, but still I would think that it is required. And when it comes to deciding on the university, make sure that it has a fairly good reputation. The job placement is good. And if you're interested in pursuing research, that's another thing that you may want to look into. And also when you come here, when you select the university, you may have to pay a little bit attention about where the university is located, how the weather is there, the cost of living, and the tuition fees, especially if you're going to pay out of your pocket or if you're going to take educational loans. Those are some of the things that you may want to consider when you select a university. The next one is after you start your program at the university, there are some on-campus jobs that you can do, like teaching assistantships. You can work in labs. You can work in you can work as a tutor. These are some of the things that you would be doing in addition to taking the coursework. And these really help you when you look for a job later. And the next one is internships. So mostly here, the universities don't offer that many courses during the summer. And so during summer, most of the students, they try to get some experience by working as interns. In India, we call it the in-plant training. It's the same thing here. It's called as internships. So the internships are very good way to get some experience in actual companies working with engineers. Most of the time, if you do very well in the internships, and by the end of the internship, if the company has positions, open positions, they may even offer you a job, full-time position, which is really good. Sometimes even if you don't end up getting a job in the same company where you interned at, the experience that you got during the internship is so valuable that it will help you land in a full-time job elsewhere later. Another thing that is quite useful when you're in universities is attending the job fairs. It's also called as the career fairs, where the recruiters, they come to the universities and you can talk to the recruiters and get some information about the jobs that they do have. And if you think that you would be interested in it, you can even submit your resume, and this gets you one step closer to the job application process in getting you an interview with the company. So that's about coming to US to pursue higher education. The second one is coming here on non-immigrant visas. There are many categories in this. The most popular one is the H-1B visa, and it is the most talked about visa also. This particular visa requires sponsorship from the companies. These are company-sponsored visas. Currently, I think US allows like about 85,000 work visas. And out of that, I read that about 70% of them, it goes to Indians. And it has some certain time limit for how long you can stay here. I think it's about like 6 years in chunks of 3 years each. So you can work for 3 years and then you extend it for another 3 years. It's still popular. And a lot of people, they come here on that. Because they allow only like about 65,000 for people with bachelor's degree. I think you have to apply for the lottery and probably need some luck also to get into it. So this may require some experience. It requires bachelor's degrees to come here, a minimum of bachelor's degree to come here. And preferably, I think they look for some experience and specific skill sets. You could be like a strong backend developer, or it could be someone who's very good in an expert in machine learning. So these are just an example. So they do expect some kind of experience because these are sponsored by the companies and they look for someone to come here and do the job. And another option is the intra-company transfers. This is for some specialized positions. These are more viable in multinational corporations like Google and PayPal and all these big companies. So sometimes the management thinks it's beneficial to move some candidates from a different branch of the same company. Like, for example, when I was working at Yahoo, we were working in a big team and we were collaborating a lot with the Yahoo in Bangalore. And the management decided it would be more beneficial to bring in a few engineers from that to here. So they got transferred to the Yahoo Sunnyvale branch here. And it works the other way also. I know some of my colleagues who moved from here to Bangalore also. So both ways it works. And if none of these options work for you and you still want to work with a US company, you can choose to become an independent contractor. So there are companies like Upwork and Turing. These are some of the companies. They are more like freelance, where they accept like freelance contractors. And the employers who are looking for resources, they go and post their job openings there. They specify the duration that they are looking for and what are the skill sets they expect you to have. And if you think that you have a match, you can apply. And after a couple of rounds of interviews, and if they think you did well, there is a chance that you may get selected to work with the company here. So basically you will be working from India or wherever you're based at, but then you'll be working on US based projects. And this is very popular among small companies here because that way they don't have to worry about the visa, applying for a visa, or even they don't even have to wait longer to hire someone locally. So because these independent contractors, they switch from projects to projects across different companies. They come here, they start getting a good grasp of the code, and immediately they start contributing early on. So this works out well, and it's more like a win-win for both the employers as well as for the contractors. You can even start looking into these options. You can go and check out what kind of jobs they have. Some might be as simple as coming up with like a website for a company. So there are like a lot of smaller projects that you can look into to build your profile. And I had worked a lot with these independent contractors all over the world. I had worked with a lot of them from India, and I had worked with a lot of them from Russia and Ukraine, and from many parts of the world. And now Bhuvana will talk a little bit about the career options that are available and some of the career paths that you may choose.
Thanks, Anitha. So my name is Bhuvana, and தமிழ்ல பேச முடியுமான்னு கேட்டாங்க. ஸோ இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் அண்ட் க்ளோசிங் ரிமார்க்ஸ் தமிழ்ல சொல்லலான்னு, அதுக்கப்புறம் இன்பிட்வீன் வந்து கொஞ்சம் இங்கிலீஷ்ல. ஸோ என் பேர் புவனா, நானும் சிதம்பரத்தில் தான் வளர்ந்தேன். ஸோ என்னோட அப்பா வந்து அண்ணாமலை யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஃபேக்கல்ட்டி மெம்பர், அப்போ அனிதா மாதிரி. ஸோ அவர் பேர் வந்து கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி, அண்ட் ஹி வாஸ் இன் பரங்கிப்பேட்டையில் சென்டர் ஃபார் அட்வான்ஸ் ஸ்டடி இன் மரைன் பயாலஜி, கடல்வாழ் உயிரினங்களை பற்றி ஆராய்ச்சி பண்ணுற மையம். ஸோ அங்கே வந்து மை ஃபாதர் வாஸ் ப்ரொஃபஸர் அண்ட் டைரக்டர், அண்ட் நவ் ஹீஸ் ரிட்டையர்ட் அஃப்கோர்ஸ். ஸோ அனிதா மாதிரி நானும் கவர்மெண்ட் கேர்ள்ஸ் ஹையர் செகண்டரி ஸ்கூலில் படித்தேன் சிதம்பரத்தில். அதுக்கப்புறம் அண்ணாமலை யூனிவர்சிட்டியில் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் பண்ணோம். எங்களோட பேட்ச் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேட்ச் டு பாஸ் அவுட் ஆஃப் அண்ணாமலை யூனிவர்சிட்டி இன் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ். ஸோ படித்து முடிச்சுட்டு ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸில் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் கன்சல்டன்சி அண்ட் ஸ்பான்சர்ட் ரிசர்ச் அப்படின்னு ஒரு சென்டர் இருக்கு. ஸோ அங்கே வந்து கம்பெனிஸ் எல்லாம் ஒரு டிஃபிகல்ட் ப்ராப்ளம்லாம் இருந்ததுன்னா தே வில் கம் டு த ஃபேக்கல்ட்டி, ஐஐடி ப்ரொஃபஸர்ஸ் கிட்ட வந்து இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் சால்வ் பண்ணி கொடுக்குறீங்களா அப்படின்னு கேட்பாங்க. ஸோ தே வில் ஹையர் ப்ராஜெக்ட் அசோசியேட்ஸ். ஸோ அது மாதிரி ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட் அசோசியேட்டாக ஜாயின் பண்ணேன். ஸோ ஐ டிட் ஜெனித் கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ்னு ஒரு கம்பெனிக்கு ஒரு நெட்வொர்க் கார்டு ஒன்று இருந்தது. ஸோ அதுக்கு தே டிட் நாட் ஹேவ் அ டிவைஸ் டிரைவர். ஸோ தீஸ் டிவைஸ் டிரைவர்ஸ் ஆர் பார்ட் ஆஃப் யூனிக்ஸ் கர்னல். ஸோ அதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு டிசிபி ஐபி ஸ்ட்ரீம்ஸ் டிவைஸ் டிரைவர் பண்ணோம் ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸில். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஜெனித் ஓஎஸ்ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஜெனித் யூனிக்ஸ் வெர்ஷனோட ரிலீஸ் பண்ணாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் அதில் வந்து வி ஆல்சோ டிட் நெட்வொர்க் பேக்கெட் மானிட்டரிங் சாஃப்ட்வேர், ஸ்னூப்பிங் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் சாஃப்ட்வேர், மானிட்டரிங் சாஃப்ட்வேர். ஸோ அதுவும் பண்ணோம். வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ். அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து ஐ வாண்டட் டு கோ பேக் அஸ் அ ஸ்டூடெண்ட். ஸோ கேட் எக்ஸாம் எழுதி ஐ ஜாயின் ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸ் அண்ட் ஐ டிட் மாஸ்டர்ஸ் இன் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ். ஸோ ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸில் ஐஐடிஸ் எல்லாத்துலேயுமே 2 இருக்கு மாஸ்டர்ஸ் ட்ரெயின் இருக்கு. ஒன்று வந்து எம்டெக், விச் இஸ் மோஸ்ட்லி பை கோர்ஸ் ஒர்க் அண்ட் அ ஸ்மால் ப்ராஜெக்ட். இப்போ நீங்கள் லாஸ்ட் இயரில் ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணுற மாதிரி ஒரு 6 month ப்ராஜெக்ட். So I think it is about 3 semesters of coursework and 6 months of project or something like that. And then there is a master's in computer science, which is by research, US பண்ற மாதிரியே. So அதில் வந்து small amount of coursework தான், ஒரு 5 course பண்ணோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் you have to take a area and study in depth and write a thesis and defend it and publish papers and you get a master's. So நான் வந்து I did in parallel algorithms and fault tolerance. அதில் வந்து மாஸ்டர்ஸ் பண்ணேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஐஐடி மெட்ராஸில் வந்து கேம்பஸ் இன்டர்வியூக்கு நிறைய காலேஜ் நிறைய கம்பெனிஸ் வரும், மல்டிநேஷ்னல்ஸ்லாமும் வரும். ஸோ ஆரக்கிள் வந்தது, ஆரக்கிள் இந்தியா டெவலப்மெண்ட் சென்டர். They had newly opened in Bangalore back then in the 1990s. So anga vande I got a job. Back then Oracle was a small company in India. In Bangalore we had only 150 people. So I worked there for a couple of years. I also got a chance to come to US in business visa for some projects for a few months. Adukapram after 2 years Oracle offers a way for you to transfer to Oracle US if you want, or anywhere in the world if you want. So அது எப்படின்னா you have to find your own job. So basically you apply like everyone else, interview எல்லாம் பண்ணோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஆஃபர் கிடைச்சிடுச்சுன்னா you can get L1 visa, which is Anitha சொன்னா இல்லையா, intra company transfer visa. It's similar to H1, but it's a smaller quota because only few people take the intra company transfer. So அதுல வந்து I came to Oracle US. I worked in Oracle US for a few years, and then I worked in Cisco systems and also in Dell, அதுக்கப்புறம் ஹெச்பியில் ஒர்க் பண்ணேன். அண்ட் நவ் ஐ எம் இன் கூகுள். ஐ ஒர்க் அஸ் அன் இன்ஜினியரிங் மேனேஜர். பிஃபோர் தட் ஐ வாஸ் அ சாஃப்ட்வேர் டெவலப்பர். அப்புறம் கொஞ்ச நாள் வந்து டெக்னிக்கல் லீடாக இருந்தேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் சாஃப்ட்வேர் டெவலப்மெண்ட் மேனேஜராக இருந்தேன் ஹெச்பியில். அதுக்கப்புறம் இப்போ கூகுளில் இன்ஜினியரிங் மேனேஜராக இருக்கேன். So today I'll talk to you about career options and career path. So this segment will be in English. So if you are going to be in software, if you are a software developer, so you could be working in backend or in front end. So backend is everything that is not front end. So it could be middle tier business logic as well as the backend storage layer, all of that. And then front end is the UI that you are all familiar with. And nowadays you have all this web-based UI and everything. So the other way to look at software developers, you could be working on products or you could be working on solutions. So products now, it can be at Oracle, you can be working on the database software. Cisco, you could be working on the network router, for instance. And then similarly, like other places, like you can have specialized products that you are working on, and then or you could be developing solutions where let's say you have a company, like let's say you have an insurance company or something that wants to solve a particular problem. You will use these products, the database product, whatever is available you will use and build a solution for your client. So those are 2 areas to think about. அதுக்கப்புறமா you can be a specialist or generalist. Specialist as in, like, let's say you want to work in a consultancy company. In India there are lots, right? Like we have Infosys, we have Wipro, we have Cognizant, நிறைய இருக்கு. So they have verticals, right? So you can have pharmaceutical, you can have manufacturing, you can have insurance sector, அது மாதிரி. So you can be sort of a specialist in one area of solution and be there and then sort of move to another area. So you can go like that. Or you could be a generalist. So you can say, I'm a backend engineer, I will work on anything, and I want to change. So no, I'll change my area from one job to another. So I have done that. Like in Oracle, I worked on the Oracle software, and then later on I worked on database backup and recovery software in BMC software, and then we worked on compliance, kind of process compliance kind of software. அதுக்கப்புறம் at Cisco I worked on network management solutions, tools, and then at HP I worked on enterprise monitoring software. So it's possible for you to change from one field to another, and it's sort of keeps it interesting. So other than that, for specialists you can choose a number of areas. So you can be like a DB administrator, or you can be system DB administrators, like you can find jobs in banks, things like that. Bank needs to have a 24/7 database. You don't want to log into your bank and find that the service is out, right? So DB administrators sort of make it happen. And you can also do system administration, like for Unix, Linux, Windows. So those are like interesting area. If you are into, some shell scripting and, managing systems, that's a good option. And you can also be in IT operations. This basically concerns with provisioning, capacity and performance of resources, compute storage and network resources. So IT operations is this field. Security and privacy is a hot field now. So there are security operations center that big companies have. The idea is to avoid cyber security attacks. So to prevent, detect, analyze, and respond to attacks, you can be in that field. And to stand out from the crowd, like if you are a fresher and you are looking to go into one of these fields, while you are doing your interviews, waiting for a job offer, you can also do some certifications on the side, and that sort of makes your resume stand out, and you get more opportunity, more possibility to get called for interviews. So you can think of DB certifications, Oracle offers, maybe other companies too. And then Oracle also offers a ERP kind of certification. They have application software, which is for managing business processes. There are cloud certifications like AWS and other offerings. And then security certifications, I know HP offers and other places. And then Linux and Windows certifications for if you want to be in the system administrator role. And then CRM, Salesforce kind of those kind of certifications, or general software development. You can be in, Agile versus Waterfall. So Waterfall is like you take the requirements, do the whole software, and then you sort of release it, right? And then Agile is like you take incremental requirements and do incremental delivery. The idea is that if something is not correct, you have an opportunity to course correct. தப்பாயிடுச்சுன்னா முதல்ல கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா காட்டிட்டே இருந்தோம்னா they will say இல்ல இது மாதிரி வேண்டாம் எனக்கு அது மாதிரி வேணும். So a lot of times நம்ம requirement கேட்போம், அதுக்கப்புறம் we'll develop something and it will be totally different from what they are expecting, right? So அதனால Agile is a popular software development methodology, and you can be a certified Scrum Master அது மாதிரி. And then you can get PMP certifications, QA certifications. So those are all possibilities. And if you want to be in the front end area, you can be a front end developer, or you can be like a UX designer. And then in the quality assurance field, you can be, the quality QA analyst kind of a position where you do manual testing, black box. And then you can be like with programming experience, where you can be dealing with the white box testing, and you could also be doing load testing. So your system can handle the load that it is expected to handle. Can it scale to the whatever limits you promised? And how is the memory doing? You can do a SOAP test, you can do performance test. So a lot of possibilities there in the QA area. And then we have release engineers who are generally concerned with assessing quality and risk for releasing software, new software. A lot of companies do, weekly release or release every 2 weeks. Even some companies do release every day. So these engineers sort of make sure that those releases are good quality. And then DevOps is a possibility where you are looking at infrastructure and tools for simplifying development of software. So that's a field. And then reliability engineers. So these are the people that look at your latency. If you make a request, let's say you want to do some shopping, you connect to Amazon, right? So if you are a reliability engineer with Amazon, you are concerned with looking at what is the latency of the request, right? And does it take too long for your page to load up, things like that. So we also have research analysts. They do market research, and data science is a hot field now. There are masters in data science, and ML is also a hot field. So with this, you can sort of do analytics, so trend prediction and things like. So you are shopping in Amazon, they will say probably these other things are interesting for you. So how do they do that? They are looking at the patterns, right? So they are looking at another person or a bunch of people who bought this item, and what else did they buy, right? So that kind of prediction, what will you most likely want? If you are buying a bucket, you most likely want a mug, that kind of thing. So product managers, so that's a field where lot of times engineers start as a coding job, and then they understand the domain very well, they understand the requirements, and they want to do the role of product manager, where you sort of define the next big the roadmap of the product. What should we do next, right? So that, and then project managers are people who track the execution of the project and make sure you are meeting your deadlines. So a lot of career options there in the software field. And next I'll talk to you about career path. So you can be an individual contributor where you will be a software engineer and you'll grow into a senior software engineer, a principal software engineer, and then maybe architect. I think different companies have different roles. So basically what it means is you are looking at a small service or a small area of a service, and then you will be looking at a whole service, and then you'll be looking at a suite of services and the whole product, things like that. And then if you go into management, you can be a manager, you can grow up to be a director, and you can grow up to be a vice president. So again, this is the sphere of influence that you have, right? Authority versus influence. So like how many people can you influence, and how can you influence the roadmap of the company, things like that. So there are not that many levels in US compared to, I think, India, but even in India, now the multinationals probably follow the same structure as in the US. So next, Anitha will talk about startup versus big companies.
Thanks, Bhuvana. So I'm going to talk a little bit about working in big companies versus working in startups. So from hearing from friends and reading in news, looks like the startup culture is picking up big time in India. I think it's also fueled by the success stories of companies like Flipkart. The area that we are working, where we are working here, it has a lot of startups. They call this as a center of innovation. Big companies like Google, PayPal, all these companies at one point of time, they were all startups. So first I'll go through the benefits of working in big public companies like Google. These companies, they are very structured. We have like proper levels. We have different levels, different levels of management. And again, like Bhuvana said, like different levels of being an individual contributor. They have very good processes in place. There is documentation for everything, things like that. And mentorship is there for sure. I remember now first Sun Microsystems join பண்ணும்போது I got through campus interview, and எனக்கும் இன்னொரு girl who got hired along with me, எங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்கும் சேர்த்து we had a mentor. So the mentors, we have meetings with them every week, and they generally talk about how we could grow up in our career, like even like day-to-day things like what should be expected, what we should expect in meetings. And the mari nariya they mentor us. And some of the things I still carry on with me. And training and classes, this is very doable in big companies. Like say, for example, you want to learn like something new, like a new concept, or if you want to learn about a new technology, new programming language, you can talk to your manager and say, hey, I want to take this class. And you have the options to do that. Sometimes in the mari classes, company they organize. They provide training. Sometimes they bring people from outside. So these are the things that you can use for advance your career. And lot of stability irukum. You don't have to worry about enga job lose panniduvomo and the problem irukadhu romba. And perks and benefits are very good. Benefits like medical insurance, and perks like some companies, they give free food, the shuttle service they have for commuting to work. So overall, the work-life balance is very good in big companies. And then comes the startups. Startups, the culture is a little different. Like I said, most of the big companies now, they started somewhere like a startup, where you just dive in and then start doing the job. Nariya namla learn panikira mari irukum. Lot of self-learning you have to do. கொஞ்சம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க கூட இருக்கிற co-workers, but they cannot spend a lot of time hand holding you. It's not that they don't want to do it, it's just that they don't have the time to do it, or they don't have the bandwidth to do so. The culture is very nice, because we all work in a small space, as well as because usually the startups, we probably have like about 50 to 100 to start with, not a very big company. So pretty much, you know, everybody else in the company that you're working with. The experience that you get in startups, it's really valuable. By the end of the day, you feel like you have that immense satisfaction that you have done something good and you have contributed towards the growth of the company. And so if I'm working in a certain role, it's not that I will just stick to that role. Many a times I get a chance to work on something else where I can provide some help. இப்போ 2 weeks முன்னாடி, one of the engineers from the cross-functional team, he came to a team meeting and said, next week my coworker is going to be out on vacation. Can I please get some help from your team? And immediately a couple of them, they jumped in, even though they don't know much about what needs to be done. They said, oh, we are willing to learn and help you out. So that's how it works in startups. We don't really stick to the role and position very closely. We generally are open to trying out a lot of new things and learning. And the organization is pretty flat. We don't have very many levels. Like in big companies, we just have like probably one manager or like one and who reports to the VP of engineering. That's about it. We don't have like a lot of levels. Even the managers that do people management, they are all technically good as well. Like if you take in our case, my manager, he still does a lot of coding and does a lot of technical work. So everyone works with a passion. The main goal in startups is trying to achieve something and make the company successful. So that's the main goal for most of us. So we all work with that one single goal and with dedicated passion. And when it comes to working hours and everything, it could be a little bit crazy. Again, because we are usually short on resources, so like sometimes when I'm ready to leave work, my manager would come and say, Anitha, can you please stay for extra couple of hours? We have to get something done. The customers just reported a problem. So we try to be flexible as much as we could. And the same is applicable for the weekend work also. Sometimes we may get called in. And the startups fund, it's not just for senior engineers or any someone with like a lot of experience. It's for everyone. We hire a lot of fresh graduates from college. We really like working with them because they bring in such youthful energy to the team, and they're very eager to learn, and they don't mind working long hours or anything. So we do have like a very good mix of like fresh college grads, mid-level engineers, and senior engineers. It doesn't mean that working in startups doesn't come with its own risks. Most of the startups they're a little tight on cash flow because a lot of external investors, they put in money, and so usually it's a little tight. Sometimes you may have to take pay cuts. I have done that. If you really like the job and if you don't mind taking a pay cut, sometimes you may have to do that. There is the risk of losing the job. If the company is not doing well or not meeting the goals or the investors' expectation, then they may start cutting down on funds. So sometimes there is this risk of losing the job. So it's not as stable as working in big companies because of these reasons. And also they cannot give, like if you don't do that well in startups, sometimes you may not get the second chance because they go on very tight schedules, and they don't have the time to give you extra training and bring you up to speed. Sometimes you may be asked to leave the company. So that risk is also there. So these are some of the risks of working in a startup. to personal preferences. Also, when you work in like smaller companies, you may have to consider like the other variables, like how it's going to affect your family and those kind of things. So in conclusion, what I would suggest is like start out in big companies, learn all the processes well, and at least once in your career, try to work for a startup. It's totally worth the ride. You'll get to learn a lot and you won't regret. So that's about working in startups. And the next topic I'm going to talk about is applying for jobs and interviewing process. So when you apply for jobs, the very first thing is coming up with a really good resume. So keep it short, keep it precise. Romba nariya details poda venna adala. Like sometimes when I get a resume, if it is more than 3 or 4 pages, we kind of lose the interest to even go through it. We won't know where to start, what to look for. So always create a resume that's nice, short, and precise, and try to bulletize everything. Like have bullet points, and then put out the things that you want to say, and highlight certain keywords like the skills. Like say if you're good in Java, just highlight the Java. So highlighting is good. And if you're a fresh graduate, you may not have a lot of work experience. So you can talk a little bit about the trainings that you have done. If there is anything, you can talk about your projects that you did in college. And you can even highlight the courses that you have done, like data structures, algorithms, all these courses. And the second one is create a account in professional social network like LinkedIn. Many recruiters use LinkedIn these days to find good candidates. And we get a lot of candidates in our company through LinkedIn. So keep it updated. That's like your online resume. And try to get references. When I get a LinkedIn profile, I always go and check if there are any good references. See, these references are given by, it could be given by your professors, your co-workers, like your peers, whoever can vouch for the work that you have done. The next one is create a very good network. By network, I mean, try to establish connections with your seniors, your friends, your cousins, your relatives who's probably working in the software industry. So create a nice professional network. So they are the ones, why I'm saying this is they are the ones who are going to help you out when you start looking for a job. And they are the ones who are going to help pass your resume in the places where they are working at, or through their friends in the companies where their friends are working at. So for example, when I start looking for a job, I go through and check if I know of anyone who's working there in LinkedIn. Say if I don't find anyone, but sometimes what it says, the LinkedIn is good in making the connections, and it says this contact that you have, that person is working in this particular company. So that person knows someone who's working in that company. So what I do is I ask that person, my friend who has a connection in that other company, and say, can you please pass my resume? And most of the time they are happy to do that. So that's how you expand your network, and you make use of your network to find jobs. And if you are trying to get into software development career, you may want to be pretty good in programming. And there are a lot of things resources available to practice programming. And one such thing is called LEET code, L-E-E-T. This is used by a lot of students here in colleges. It's basically a lot of programming examples they have, which you can go through. You can even start as soon as you can. Maybe 2 or 3 can meet like a couple of times a week, and then select a problem and then work it out and see how you're able to solve it and what you learn from each other. So that's a very good way to practice coding. And the next one is called mock interviews. So mock interviews are like basically preparing for interviews. So you basically set up an interview on your own. You can ask a friend who's working in the industry and say, hey, can you please come and help me give an interview? So most of them, they're happy to do that. When interns come to our companies, they ask us before their internship gets over, usually during the last week of their internship, they come and say, do you mind spending some time and give us a mock interview? So we conduct like sample interviews and then give them feedbacks on how they should talk, how they should ask questions, how to solve problems. So the mock interviews helps. And when it comes to interviewing, there are usually two levels. First is the phone screening. The phone screening is critical because phone screening you can talk about yourself and give a good impression so that you get hired. You get a call for the next round of interviews, which is usually on site. So phone screening, try to have very good communication, clear answers. Sometimes you may be tested in technical concepts. Most of the time, it will be the hiring manager who talked to you or one of the leads. So if you do well in the phone screening and if they are impressed with how you did, you may get called for the next round of interviews, which is usually the on-site interviews. So when you go for on-site interviews, go prepared knowing about the company. And the company konjam research pannittu poningna, it will be helpful. If you're a fresher, someone who's right out of college, deeper, we don't ask questions. Usually we check to see if we have the potential to pick up. Definitely, like I said, good communication is essential because this time it's going to be more face-to-face. Be articulate, ask questions when it is your turn to ask. Make sure to ask questions and give the answers clearly. If you are not sure about something, you can ask for clarification. You can say, can you please repeat the question? You can ask for clarification for sure. And try to be strong in the basic foundation. That's what we look for. Like, for example, data structures, algorithms, the object-oriented concepts. So try to be good in those areas. And programming is key if you're going for software engineering positions. At least be very good at one programming language like Java or C++. Because that helps, because you'll be asked to write programs. And you may be asked some questions in analytical to test your analytical skills also. And like I said, the interviewing is just not for the interviewer to ask you questions. You'll be given a chance to ask questions also. You can go a little bit deeper. You can ask questions about the job, what you will be doing there, who you will be working with. And the detailed, I can ask questions. You don't have to ask much about the company because you already know. You can ask a little bit more about so one valuable tip I'll give is when you are asked to write something on the whiteboard, think out loud and clearly state your approach. So like, say, for example, you are asked to write a program, right? Just say it loud. When you write, like, even simple things like declaring the variables, you can say, oh, I am declaring the variables now. And you can say like things like, I am going to use hash maps here, and I prefer using hash maps instead of arrays because I feel it's more efficient. So ninga ennala manasla ungalku thonudho, just say it loud. So that way the interviewer can understand your thought process, and he or she can understand the approach that you're taking to solve the problem. And sometimes they may even give you tips. If you're stuck, they can say, probably you can do this, and go ahead. So those are some of the things I'd like to share when it comes to interviewing. And next, Bhuvana will talk about the skill sets that you may need.
Okay. Thanks, Anitha. So number 10:45 முடிக்கணும் இல்லையா? So we have 15 minutes for question and answers, right? So maybe சுருக்கமா சொல்லிடுறேன், so then we can have some time for question and answer. Skillsனா இப்போ டெக்னிக்கல் ஸ்கில்ஸ் என்னன்னா, இப்போ அனிதா சொன்ன மாதிரி ப்ரோக்ராமிங் லாங்குவேஜஸ், C++, ஜாவா, அதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த Python now popular because of data science and machine language and all that. அப்புறம் ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்ட்னா ஜாவாஸ்கிரிப்ட், HTML, ரியாக்ட், ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி. And then operating systems, Unix, Linux, and then Windows. So அதெல்லாம். அதுக்கப்புறம் quality engineering, lot of tools are there. Open source is always preferred. So we have Cucumber, we have behavior driven development kind of things, and automation frameworks, robot and மாதிரி இருக்கு. And Selenium for black box testing and all that. Database na relational database, MySQL, Oracle, and then big data, NoSQL databases irukku, Cassandra, MongoDB, so அது மாதிரி. அதுக்கப்புறம் continuous integration, continuous development tools, Jenkins, அது மாதிரி. So a lot of companies will release every day. So as you make changes to the source code, this kind of systems will continually build every 2-3 hours and run some smoke test, make sure nothing is broken because of your checking. அப்புறம் source code management repositories இருக்கு, GitHub, Perforce, CVS நிறைய இருக்கு. அப்புறம் cloud technologies, AWS, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google, GCP. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த Kubernetes, Docker, those are for deploying your applications, packaging and deploying in the web. ஸோ டெக்னிக்கல் ஸ்கில்ஸ் ஒரு பக்கம், இன்னொரு பக்கம் வந்து சாஃப்ட் ஸ்கில்ஸ். ஸோ சாஃப்ட் ஸ்கில்ஸ் வந்து திங்ஸ் டு டெவலப் ஆர் ப்ரெசன்டேஷன், கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஸ்கில்ஸ். ஸோ கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஸ்கில்ஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் யூஸ்ஃபுல் ஈவன் ஆஸ் அ ஸ்டூடெண்ட். யூ வில் பி ப்ரெசென்டிங் யுவர் ப்ராஜெக்ட். ஸோ அது வந்து தோஸ் ஆர் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் ஃபார் யூ டு டெவலப் கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஸ்கில்ஸ் அண்ட் ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் ஸ்கில்ஸ். Teamwork, very important. Companies, when they hire, they always see whether you are a good team player, because nobody is going to work alone. Yeah, and you will be able to, you want to show that you can work with people. And so together with working with people, we have problem solving, conflict management. எப்பவுமே இந்த மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்லாம் இருந்தீங்கன்னா 2 பேர் வந்து சொல்லுவாங்க, அவங்க அது மாதிரி பண்ணாங்க சரியில்லை அப்படின்னா. ஸோ there'll be a lot of conflicts that you'll be resolving day to day. So how do you deal with those? So நிறைய டைம் இன்டர்வியூல they'll do behavioral interviewன்ட்டு. ஸோ என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா they will give you a sample situation. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி இருந்தா என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? ஸோ நீங்க வந்து ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க, உங்க லீடு வந்து டைம் ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கு, அதனால டெஸ்டிங்லாம் வேணாம், ரிலீஸ் பண்ணிடுன்னு சொல்றாங்க, நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க அப்படின்னு கேட்பாங்க. ஸோ தே ஆர் ட்ரைங் டு ஃபைண்ட் அவுட் வெதர் யூ ஆர் டூயிங் த ரைட் திங் ஆர் யூ ஜஸ்ட் டூ வாட் யூ ஆர் டோல்ட் டு டூ. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி. So leadership always important. Even as an engineer, when you are working on projects, you can have a opportunity to show some leadership, and you should be able to think about it and also talk about it. So those are for the skill sets. And closing remarks, life abroad. So நிறைய positives and negatives இருக்கு living in the US away from India. So definitely miss our family and friends and the Indian atmosphere. இப்போ Diwali and மாதிரி பொங்கல் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருந்தால் we don't have the festive atmosphere. So அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு. And also it's a challenge to bring up kids here. Support system கம்மி. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு டொமஸ்டிக் ஹெல்ப் எல்லாம் ஜாஸ்தி கிடையாது. ஸோ நம்ம தான் வீட்டு வேலை எல்லாமும் பண்ணிக்கணும், நம்ம தான் ஆஃபீஸ் வேலை எல்லாமும் பண்ணிக்கணும். குழந்தைங்களாம் இருந்தாங்கன்னா நமக்கு வந்து we don't get family support to take care of kids. தாத்தா பாட்டியோட எப்பவுமே இருக்க மாட்டாங்க குழந்தைங்க. only when you visit they will see them. So அந்த மாதிரி. And then bringing up kids here, you want to people take extra steps to make sure they learn their language. தமிழ் கிளாஸ் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கு. ஸோ நிறைய பேர் அதெல்லாம் சண்டேல போய் கொண்டு விட்டு குழந்தைங்களாம் தமிழ் பேசுற மாதிரி பார்த்துக்கோங்க. இல்லைன்னா இங்கேயே விட்டா அவங்களாம் இங்கிலீஷ் தான் பேசுவாங்க, அப்புறம் தமிழ் சுத்தமா தெரியாது. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரிலாம் ப்ளஸ் அண்ட் மைனஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ நவ் Anitha, you want to talk about life abroad, and then we can close.
Yeah, I'd like to echo the same things that Bhuvana just talked about. For me, the main thing is family, because we don't have as much family here. The parents ellarum India la irukanga. So when as parents are aging now, we feel the need to be with them, but it's not easy to drop everything and move also. So that's my biggest thing about living here. And not just me, many of my friends are going through that same at this point in life. And I would like the same things as Bhuvana said. There are a lot of opportunities here, which is a good thing. Work life is really good. And That's about it. And I would like to thank the teaching and administrative staff at Annamalai University and to the organizers for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences, and very best to the wishing the students the very best and good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, வாய்ப்பு கொடுத்ததுக்கு நன்றி. வணக்கம்.
Thank you, ma'am. Really wonderful speeches, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, shall I ask some queries from you, ma'am, from you both?
Sure.
Ma'am, being a computer engineer, which gives good growth, ma'am, working in India or US, ma'am?
Bhuvana, should I go?
Yes.
Okay. So growth-wise, I would say both places have very good opportunities. நாங்க இங்க வந்த டயத்துக்கு கூட கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது இப்போ வந்து lot more opportunities, especially the last 15-20 years, with the internet and a lot of the things that are associated with it. And the same thing is happening in India also. So not there is not a very big lag there as well. That's what I feel. Even technology wise, India almost they are on par with the US now, because we are able to share a lot of resources and such things. So I would say it's pretty much equal in both places at this point.
Yeah, I agree with Anitha. So finally, I think it's what we make out of the opportunity, whether we are in India or in US. I feel the opportunities are available in both places. இந்தியால இருந்து இங்க வந்து நிறைய விசிட் பண்றாங்க, இங்க வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணலனா கூட இங்க கான்ஃபரன்ஸ்க்கு வராங்க அது மாதிரி. So you get the same exposure.
Okay, ma'am. As a part of electrical engineering, most of us are going to software companies, ma'am. How can we improve the skills, ma'am, in IT sectors?
So நீங்க வந்து
You can take training course.
Go ahead, Anitha.
இல்ல, go ahead, Bhuvana. You go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing. There are a lot of training available. So நீங்க வந்து என்ன படிக்கணுமோ அதை வந்து நீங்க ஆன்லைன்லயும் படிக்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி கிளவுடர் அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய கோர்சஸ் எல்லாமும் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ யூ கேன் லேர்ன் இன் செவரல் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் வேஸ், ஈவினிங் கிளாஸஸ் அது மாதிரி. ஸோ பண்ணிட்டு எந்த ஏரியாவில் உங்களுக்கு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்து அந்த ஏரியாவில் கொஞ்சம் ஸ்கில்ஸ் எல்லாம் பில்டப் பண்ணி யூ கேன் டூ சர்டிஃபிகேஷன் அண்ட் ட்ரை டு கெட் இன் டு தட் ஏரியா, ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ்.
Okay, ma'am. Nowadays, technology upgrades are so fast, ma'am. So being a computer engineer, have to upgrade ourselves regularly. Being experienced professional, how do you manage these challenges, ma'am?
Yeah, I can start with this one. So wonderful question. Actually, எல்லாமே சேஞ்ச் ஆகிட்டே தான் இருக்கு. நாங்கெல்லாம் படிக்கிறது C1 தான் கற்றுட்டோம், C++ கூட கற்றுக்கல. அதுக்கப்புறமா காலேஜில் போய் தான், சாரி ஹையர் ஸ்டடீஸில் போய் கொஞ்சம் கற்றுட்டோம். அதுக்கப்புறமா ஜாவாலாம் நாங்கள் பாதி ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது தான் வந்தது. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரிலாம் வரப்போ நீங்கள் வந்து கொஞ்சம் செல்ஃப் லேர்னிங் கொஞ்சம் பண்ணணும். ஸோ நீங்கள் வந்து ஜாவா பாப்புலராக ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு அப்படின்னு டிசைட் பண்ணினீங்கன்னா அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்களே இப்போ கொஞ்சம் புக்ஸ் எல்லாம் வாங்கி கொஞ்சம் டியூட்டோரியல்லாம் பண்ணி கொஞ்சம் பண்ணிடணும். அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்களே கொஞ்சம் ப்ரோக்ராமிங்லாம் எழுதி பார்த்து எல்லாமே பண்ணிட்டு தென் யூ ட்ரை அண்ட் அப்ளை ஃபார் சம் உங்கள் சேம் கம்பெனிலே யூ கேன் சேஞ்ச் ஜாப்ஸ். ஸோ நம்ம பெரிய கம்பெனியில் இருந்தால் என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா இன்னொரு குரூப்பில் போய் இந்த ஜாவாலாம் வச்சுட்டு பண்ணாங்கன்னா அங்கே போய் அப்ளை பண்ணுவோம். அப்ளை பண்ணி இந்த மாதிரி ஜாப் சேஞ்ச் பண்ண பார்ப்போம். ஸோ இன்டர்வியூக்கு வர சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்போது ஸோ வித்தின் த சேம் கம்பெனி ஆல்சோ யூ கோ ஃபார் இன்டர்வியூ. ஸோ அப்போ ஜாவா கோட்லாம் எழுத சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்போ நம்ம தரவாமல் இருக்கிறதுக்காக முன்னாடியே கொஞ்சம் எழுதிலாம் பார்த்துக்கணும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ரீசனபிளி நல்லா பண்ணினா கிடைக்கும், கிடைக்கலனாலும் இட்ஸ் அன் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. ஸோ இந்த என்ன மாதிரி கொஸ்டின் கேட்குறாங்கன்னு பார்த்துட்டு நீங்கள் அதெல்லாம் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணிட்டு இன்னொரு இடத்துல போய் அப்ளை பண்ணுவீங்க. அது மாதிரி தான். ஸோ பட் ஆனால் யூ ஹேவ் டு ஆல்வேஸ் கீப் யுவர் செல்ஃப் இன் கரண்ட் ட்ரெண்ட்ஸ். அப்போ தான் சர்வை பண்ண முடியும், இல்லைன்னா கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம்.
So I would say that's the best thing about being in this field, because you're constantly learning. There is never a dull moment. You keep learning, and contributing.
Well said, Anitha.
Being a woman managing both family and work is a real challenge, ma'am. How do you manage this, ma'am?
So it just needs a little bit of organizing. நான் வந்து சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே கிட்ஸை வந்து I try to make them little bit more independent. Let it be it doing their homework or even like வீட்ல ஹெல்ப் பண்றதெல்லாம் கூட அவங்க பண்ணுவாங்க. லைக் சின்ன சின்ன திங்ஸ் they can prepare by themselves and eat அந்த மாதிரிக்கு. சின்ன ஒரு மிடில் ஸ்கூல் வந்ததுலேருந்தே தே ஸ்டார்டட் ஈவன் குக்கிங் திங்ஸ். நான்லாம் இந்தியாவில் இருக்கும்போது காலேஜ் முடிக்கிற வரைக்கும் குக்கிங் எல்லாம் கற்றுக்க கூட இல்லை. பட் இங்கே வந்து ஐ டோன்ட் வாண்ட் டு மேக் த சேம் மிஸ்டேக். ஸோ பசங்க வந்து கொஞ்சம் வழியாவே கற்றுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க அதெல்லாம். ஸோ ஹியர் வந்து the thing is different. இந்தியாவில் வந்து we have domestic help அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் இருக்கும். இங்கே வந்து they have to be self-reliant. So that's one thing. And yeah, it was tough at that point. இப்போ நினைச்சு பார்த்தா கொஞ்சம் இதுவா இருக்கு எப்படி பண்ணோன்னு. பட் இட் வாசன்ட் சோ பேட். ஓரளவுக்கு நம்ம ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்றது கொஞ்சம் பிளான் பண்ணணும். பிளான் பண்ணி ஈவன் லைக் டெய்லி அப்பப்போ போய் ஏதாவது தீர்ந்துச்சுன்னா கடைக்கு போய் வாங்குறதெல்லாம் இல்லை. வி பிளான் அண்ட் டூ த ஒர்க் இன் த வீக்கெண்ட். ஸோ தட் வே வீக் டே ஈவினிங்ஸ் வி கீப் இட் ஃப்ரீ. அந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் பிளான் பண்ணா இட்ஸ் டூவபிள். இட்ஸ் நாட் தட் டிஃபிகல்ட்.
ஆமா, ஐ வாண்ட் டு ஆட் டு வாட் அனிதா சார். நாங்கெல்லாம் வீக்கெண்ட்லேயே காயெல்லாம் நறுக்கி அதெல்லாம் அழகாக ஃப்ரிட்ஜில் வச்சு ஸோ சார்ட் ஆஃப் பிளான் எவ்ரி திங். ஒரு 5 நாளைக்கு சமைக்கணும்னா ஒரு 4-5 காய் நறுக்கி வச்சு எல்லாமே பண்ணிடுவோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் சைல்ட் கேர்லாம் இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம உடம்பு சரியா இல்லைன்னா அனுப்ப முடியாது. அப்போ நம்மளே பார்த்துக்கணும். ஸோ அப்போல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் பிளான் பண்ணணும். யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் ஆஃப் ஆர் யூ கேன் ஒர்க் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம். இட்ஸ் சிக் சைல்டு இட்ஸ் ஹார்ட் லைக் இஃப் கிட் இஸ் ஹேவிங் ஃபீவர் அண்ட் ஆல். ஸோ அப்போல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமாக தான் இருக்கும். But கொஞ்சம் பெருசான உடனே it gets easier. So I think it's you also should be not afraid to lean on your family and get help. So உங்களோட ஹஸ்பண்ட் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க. அது மாதிரி கேட்டு கொஞ்சம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ற குவாலிட்டி கொஞ்சம் இது பண்ணிக்கணும். So then it be manageable.
Yeah, that's very important. It's like we both pitch in. தனியா பண்றது it's hard. So we equally share the responsibilities.
Ma'am, what is your advice to students from rural areas, ma'am?
ஸோ எங்களோட கணக்குப்படி நாங்கள் கூட ரூரல் ஏரியா தான். ஸோ அதனால the advice is there's a lot of opportunities out there in the world. So don't be afraid to step out and aim for something high, and don't be afraid of failures. They are only stepping stones for success. So you can keep growing and you can keep reach for the stars, and then only you can grab them. So
yeah, don't feel shy. Just try to be outgoing, try to learn a lot of new things, and don't hesitate to ask for help, and expand your network, and those things really helps.
And one more thing, நாங்கெல்லாம் ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்தப்போ ஃப்ளூயண்டா இங்கிலீஷ் பேசுறதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்லாம் பேசியிருக்கோம் நாங்க ஹை ஸ்கூல்ல. So we came up with that plan that our thinking needs to be in English. நீங்க என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க அதை வந்து நீங்க இங்கிலீஷ்ல கொஞ்சம் நினைச்சீங்கன்னா பேச பேச உங்களுக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் கொஞ்சம் கூட ஃப்ளூயண்டா வரும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் பேசியிருக்கோம் நாங்க. அப்படிலாம் நாங்க எங்களை இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஸோ நீங்களும் அந்த மாதிரி ட்ரை பண்ணலாம்.
Okay, ma'am.
And reading a lot of articles and books helps. I'm a big reader and that really helps.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, how do you think education at Annamalai University has helped both to attain the current professional level, ma'am?
It definitely helped us learn the basics. We are truly grateful to the teaching staff at our university, and that's where we learned the foundation. That's where I learned the first steps in programming, and that's why I'm here now doing that as a profession. So that's the foundation for everything.
Yeah, I agree. Bachelor's gives you sort of breadth. So அதனால அண்ணாமலை யூனிவர்சிட்டியில அந்த ஃபுல்லா எல்லா இதுவும் லேர்ன் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறமா you can decide what's the area that you want to specialize in and go deeper. So definitely starting point is Annamalai University education.
Ma'am, now Professor of Computer Science Aruna ma'am is here with us today, ma'am. She is joining now.
Hello, ma'am. எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
ஹலோ
மேம் நீங்க ஆடியோ
Audio.
Okay, okay. How are you, Anitha?
நல்லா இருக்கும் மேம். நீங்க எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
Fine, fine. How are you?
நல்லா
So
இருக்கோம்.
nice to see you after such a long time.
After very long years. Nearly 20 years.
ஞாபகம் இருக்கு, நீங்க ரொபாட்டிக்ஸ் கிளாஸ்
Bhuvanaeshwari
எல்லாம்
only
வருது.
we could not trace Bhuvanaeshwari. Now only I'm seeing her. At least Anitha, I was with a friend of her in FB, but Bhuvanaeshwari I couldn't see her. Now only I'm seeing her. How are you, Bhuvanaeshwari?
நல்லா இருக்கேன் மேடம், நல்லா இருக்கேன். உங்களோட
ம்.
ரொபாட்டிக்ஸ் கிளாஸ்ல எல்லாம் இருந்தேன் நானு.
ஓ, சரி. இப்போ யூஎஸ்ல செட்டில் ஆயிட்டீங்களா? வெரி ஹாப்பி. நான் ஜஸ்ட் வாட்சிங் யூ ஆல் ஷேரிங் யுவர் ஐடியாஸ் எல்லாம். இட்ஸ் வெரி நைஸ். அண்ட் contributing to the alumni is really great. And your 92
Thank
batch
you,
and
madam.
93 batch are doing very well. 94 batch also they have contributed to our department for one hall, and they regularly come and take classes. So I request you to extend your time and precious time to the students, so that they can make use of your experience and expertise. So please do that. Help Bhuvana, Anitha, and Amoudhavally. It's my
Definitely.
kind request.
Definitely.
Whenever possible. That's what. இப்போ இந்த ஜூம் இருக்கிறதுனால இட் இஸ் வெரி ஈஸி இல்ல நமக்கு.
Yeah.
அப்பெல்லாம் வந்து யாரு யூஎஸ்ல வந்து இப்போ 2-3 பேர் வந்தாங்க, வந்துட்டு நேரா வந்து கிளாஸ் எடுத்தாங்க. இப்போ இந்த ஜூம்ல இது இட் இஸ் ரியலி கிரேட் திங். அது நம்ம ஈஸியா இருக்கு கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு. ஸோ அதனால உங்களோட யூ ஹவ் டிராவல்ட் a long way, nearly 28 years, starting from the scratch of the computer science till the digital era now. So I think you have a very good experiences. So if you share your own experiences, அவங்களுக்கு they have to start now only, and they have to reach a long way to go. So you please do that help on behalf of everyone. I'm asking you all. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Yeah.
You continue, Anitha. You are continue, Bhuvana. I'll just stay back. No problem.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So are there any more questions, Madhu?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we did not get any chance to go any internship, ma'am. Then we stuck with the lockdown during our pre-final year, ma'am. So if wish to do an internship, now what are your suggestion, ma'am, and how to proceed?
I thought a lot of companies may be willing to offer online internships. So that may be something to explore. At least here in the US, I hear that people have internship that they do online completely from start to finish.
But in
Or I was
online,
thinking you could even.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was thinking you can even look into doing some independent projects. In the Mari, you can create a website, say for the local school or something like that, where you can use your experience, and you can add that in your resume. So that would be good also.
Okay,
Doing projects on your own.
Even the education is difference between India and US, ma'am. What is your opinion, ma'am?
Yeah, here I think it's a little bit more practical. சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே அவங்க வந்து they are encouraged to think what they could do, how they could improve. அந்த மாதிரிக்கு ரொம்ப ரோட் லேர்னிங் கிடையாது இந்தியா மாதிரி, ரொம்ப மெமரைசேஷன் கிடையாது. So that continues in college also, where they are asked to come up with the projects, like say for example compiler design, right? அங்க வந்துட்டு இங்க வந்து they expect you to design a compiler like அந்த மாதிரிக்கு. So it's a lot more practical here. So that's the difference I see between the education system there and here. But I think in India also it's changing now. That's what I heard.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's very nice time to visit you, ma'am. So thankful, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Madhu.
Madhu. It was good.
Ma'am, and I request the Bhuvanaeshwari to introduce the next speaker, Amoudhavally from Singapore.
Amoudhavally is also an alumnus of 1992 batch of Computer Science Engineering. She worked at the National University of Singapore as Associate Director, NUS in Singapore Flagship University, and leading globally university centered in Asia, and ranked as one of the top universities. She has been with the university for almost 24 years and has experience working on various platforms like Oracle, SAP, Java, .NET, and PeopleSoft. She is someone who believes that session should speak for itself. She will now guide us on choosing a career in IT and also the higher studies opportunities in Singapore.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to Anitha and Bhuvana for sharing. It was very informative, even for me. They managed to compress almost 30 years of their experience in less than an hour. So it was like a crash course for all of us. Now, whatever I intend to cover today, I see a lot of overlapping with what Anitha and Bhuvana just shared. But there is something called rule of 6. It means that you need to listen to the same thing, hear the same thing 6 times for it to be registered. So think of it that I'm repeating the same thing for the 2nd time. Yeah, so you have nothing to lose. Now, firstly, thanks to the dean, the heads, the faculties, and the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. Now, I need to have a disclaimer here that whatever is being shared today are my personal opinion, enoda sonda karuthu dhaan, okay, and do not represent the views of NUS in any way, okay. So I just want to be clear about it. Now, let me talk about myself. I'm also from the batch of 92. Anitha and Bhuvana were my classmates. I was from Pondicherry. So of course, they went the hard way. You know, they probably went there to do masters and so on. But I took the easy route. எனக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆச்சு. So என்னோட husband follow பண்ணி ஈஸியா சிங்கப்பூருக்குள்ள வந்துட்டேன். That is one shortcut. Yeah, so if you get married to someone who's already working in Singapore, then entry into Singapore is so easy. Yeah. So since then, I've been working in NUS. So you could be wondering, Anitha and Bhuvana have been working in a lot of multinational companies and startups. Yeah, but I'm on the receiving end because you see, they kept mentioning about clients, right? So NUS is actually a client of all those MNCs because we do work with a lot of system integrators or SIs who implement a lot of solution for us. So that gave me the opportunity to work on many platforms. So although I've been working in only one organization for almost 24 years, but my experience is huge. The platforms, the exposure that I had working in an educational institution gave me that immense exposure, working on different platforms with different SIs as well. Yeah. So as you all know, NUS is the leading university in Asia. It's the first in Asia and ranked 11th worldwide. So, you know, NUS has a great reputation. So working in an educational institution like NUS, it would surely give you a lot of opportunities to work on multiple platforms. And higher ed means like learning on the job, where lifelong learning is something that is being inculcated to every employee, not just students, but also people who are working there. So, yeah, I'm also delighted to share my knowledge and experience to you students of today, and I'm hoping that you guys will be the leaders of tomorrow. So I take immense pleasure to share that with you guys. So firstly, my congratulations to the graduating cohort for all your achievements, because graduating in this situation, pandemic situation, is not easy. So you may be called as someone like unlucky class of 2021. But remember that you will be in the history. ஏன்னா எங்களால முடியாதது உங்களால முடிஞ்சிருக்கு. In the virtual classes, இப்போ மது சொன்ன மாதிரி internship இல்ல. So நிறைய uncertainties. In spite of all this, you have reached here, you have gotten to this stage. So it by itself is an achievement. So do not lose hope. You have a lot of support from the alumni, from the faculties, from the deans, from the HODs, okay? And you have a lot of resources today, which we didn't have almost 30 years ago, okay? So everything is at your fingertips. So whatever we are going to share, or whatever was shared previously, everything is available online, okay? It's nothing new, but this is something where we are trying to summarize everything within the next half an hour, yeah? So don't lose hope. I just want to assure you that while this has marked the end of one phase, the recovery is already started. So it's a mark, it marks the beginning of the next phase. So whatever we share here, probably it's for IT, but I'm not sure whether there are other students who are joining us who intend to switch from non-IT to IT. So the severity of this so-called pandemic depends heavily on which industry you're going to, you're targeting, okay? So just bear in mind. But those who are in IT, there is nothing to fret about, because IT nave automation nave, everybody is looking at automation for cost cutting. So IT ku எப்பவுமே வேலை உண்டு. இந்தியாலயும் சரி வெளியூர்லயும் சரி IT க்கு எப்பவுமே demand இருக்கு, okay? So now the good news is, of course, whatever I'm sharing now is what happened in Singapore. So இப்போ ரீசெண்டா ஒரு சர்வே எடுப்பாங்க, எப்பவுமே வந்து வருடம் வந்து சர்வே எடுப்பாங்க. So students who graduated, அவங்க எவ்வளவு சீக்கிரத்துல வேலை எடுக்கிறாங்க, எப்படி இருக்கு அவங்களோட salary-னு. The good news is, of course, this is based on Singapore statistics. The good news is within 6 months from the time they completed their degree, they happen to secure a job, which is good news, okay? And the best news is their salaries are higher, actually higher than their previous cohort. So although you could be getting mixed messages from probably, from other resources, it's not the end of the world. So there's something to hope for, okay? Now, the other thing is, which I want to highlight to you guys, Annamalai, is you are one step ahead of many other alumni from other institutions. The reason is because Annamalai University has a very good reputation, not only in India, but even overseas. Yeah, and it has very strong alumni associations worldwide. உலகம் முழுக்க நிறைய alumni chapter இருக்கு, okay? And there are so many alumni in those countries who are willing to share, mentor you guys, okay? So you're already ahead of the curve. So adanal, and I heard and I read that there's more than 1 million alumni. எவ்வளோ பெரிய resources, right? So இப்போ இந்த செஷன்ல எங்க 3 பேராலேயே இவ்வளோ ஷேர் பண்ண முடிஞ்சதுன்னா, imagine 1 million of them, right? Okay, so you have that resources to tap on. So don't worry, okay? You could be getting a lot of negative messages, right? News, but don't be discouraged by all this. Yeah, now let me go into my session proper. I have prepared a couple of slides, but like I said, you will see a lot of overlapping content with Anitha's and Bhuvana's, okay? But I will probably I will touch on the key pointers so that, yeah, it's not boring. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is the agenda that I have for you today. I think Anitha and Bhuvana have done a wonderful job. எல்லாமே கவர் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஆனா என்னோடது வந்து more of Singapore perspectiveல, this is what I have observed and I have experienced. So people who are interested to know what is going on in the Singapore front, probably I think it would be useful. Okay, what is it that you need to do next immediately? Okay, the first thing is, yes, resume. At least Anitha was kind enough. She said 2 to 3 pages, but I would say 1 page is sufficient. Okay, the reason is because நீங்க ஒரு job opening there'll be hundreds or thousands of job application, thousands of them, and it goes through several rounds of screening before you're shortlisted even for that interview. So நீங்க 2-3 பேஜ் வச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா அது படிக்கிறதுக்கெல்லாம் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டடாவே இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. And moreover, before it even goes to the hiring manager, right, the person who needs to hire you, right, அதுக்கு முன்னாடியே lower level staff will be the ones doing the first level of screening. So ஒரு page is sufficient. அந்த ஒரு பேஜ்ல make sure you highlight things, your accomplishments, what makes you stand out from the rest. That is the key message here. பார்த்த உடனேயே அவங்களுக்கு okay, this is the guy, okay, we need to take a second look at him and we need to give him a chance அப்படின்றது அது highlight பண்ணுங்க. That is very, very important. Yeah, the next one, Anitha has also covered this, LinkedIn profile. அந்த காலத்துல எல்லாம் LinkedIn ஒண்ணு கிடையவே கிடையாது. இப்போ அந்த LinkedIn, majority of the employers are actually looking at your LinkedIn profile. So you can start off right away. In fact, inga Singapore, while they are doing their courses, one of the things that they are required to do even before they graduate is setting up their LinkedIn profile. Of course, there are even short courses for them, teaching them how to update LinkedIn profile. But not to worry, நீங்க கூகுள்ல போய் சர்ச் பண்ணீங்கன்னா, யூடியூப்ல சர்ச் பண்ணீங்கன்னாவே உங்களுக்கு நிறைய ரிசோர்சஸ் வரும், நிறைய வீடியோஸ் வரும் எப்படி லிங்க்டின் ப்ரொஃபைல அப்டேட் பண்ணணும்ன்றது. ஓகே, so I strongly encourage you guys to spend at least 30 minutes or so to set it up. Okay, LinkedIn profile. Anitha mentioned about networking connections. அதுவும் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஏன்னா உங்களோட friend, உங்களோட கனெக்ஷனை பார்க்கறவங்க, they will be automatically recommended to also look at you because you have a connection with the other person. So you're actually helping each other. So இப்போ இருக்கிற situationல உங்களோட hard skills மட்டும் பத்தவே பத்தாது. You need soft skills, you need connections. Okay, it's through word of mouth, through your references. அப்பதான் உங்களால you can stay ahead of the curve. So it is very important. Okay, and the other thing, LinkedIn profile, once you create it, don't leave it outdated. Every time you go through those online courses, certification, or any short courses, or any degree, any achievements, any accomplishments, any volunteer activities, remember to update your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that it's up to date. Yeah, so you can set a reminder in your calendar to update this regularly. Okay, so make sure that it is up to date. Yeah, the next one. Now, what I've listed here is basically a few job portals. It's not comprehensive. It's a complete list kadayadu. So you can look for suitable jobs in career portals. Okay, I've listed a few here. Okay, which is quite popular in Singapore. Now, why do you need to look at these jobs? Because this is the fastest way to know what is the latest trend. Okay, current trend என்னன்றது இத வச்சு உங்களால கண்டுபிடிச்சுக்க முடியும் whether you're heading in the right direction. So when you see a lot of job openings, right, especially in your dream jobs, okay, in your dream company, அப்படி இருந்ததுன்னா அவங்க என்னென்ன மாதிரி ஸ்கில் செட் எதிர்பார்க்கறாங்கன்றத இந்த career portalsல போனீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிரும். Okay, you may not be ready today, but you know what is it that you need to do to get there. So அதனால இந்த career portals கவனிச்சுட்டே வாங்க. Okay, you need to put in some effort to do all this. Okay, because you're a matured adult now. Okay, then the last one I want to highlight. Okay, now social media, in case you think it's only for fun, okay, it is not. It is much more than that. Whether you like it or not, your social media is being watched. Okay, it is being watched not only by your friends and your circle, friend circle mattum kadayadu. We see this trend happening as part of the hiring process. HR will actually look at your social media presence. okay, and they're using it to screen candidates. So it is very important that what you say in social media, okay, you're saying the right thing. So even a small, a slip up, right? It can cost you your career or even ruin your chances of getting your dream job. So this is something that you need to be mindful, okay, because this is becoming more prevalent now, where social media presence is being used as one of the hiring criteria, okay? Now, what are the IT jobs in demand? Of course, all these jargons, Anithaவும் Bhuvanavum clear-ஆ சொல்லிட்டாங்க. Okay, I'm not going to repeat much on this slide, but I've just highlighted a few of those IT jobs that's currently in demand. Okay, and it is here to stay for some time. Okay, and you know already that the technology sector is booming. Okay, it is here to stay. Technology லேந்து உங்களால போவே முடியாது. எது இருந்தாலும் technology இருக்கும். And it has many drivers to sustain this growth. Okay, now even though there is a push for automation as a society, right? Now there is something that is lacking. For example, in the artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, இதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து there's a talent shortage. நிறைய பேர் இல்ல இந்த ஃபீல்ட்ல எல்லாம் வந்து ஒர்க் பண்றதுக்கு. So while I'm advising you that you need to develop your competencies, your skill sets in this area, mind you that I am also competing with you. I am also trying to develop my skills in the same area. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can look out for, and then see how you have to enhance your skills or develop those skills so that you have better job opportunities. Okay, again, it's not a comprehensive list. Yeah. The next one, the career path. I've only given an example for a software engineer, and this one I know by heart because this is how I started off. You know, when I came into NUS, I started off at a lowest level, analyst programmer, and then I went all the way up. Okay, I'm not going to go repeat every single one there, but I'm just saying that although it might seem like a long journey, okay, but if you have the capability, okay, you will be able to reach the top of the pyramid soon. Okay, so there were some questions. Rural area, there is no such thing as rural or urban anymore. Okay, everything has become virtual. Yeah, what you can achieve in a rural area is the same as what an urban person will also be able to achieve. City, village, no differentiation. In the virtual, in the pandemic, has removed all those boundaries. So there is nothing for you to be discouraged that you're coming from a rural area. Okay, maybe communication skills, அது கொஞ்சம் நீங்க brush up பண்ணிக்க வேண்டியது. அதுக்கும் நிறைய resources இருக்கு online. Yeah. Next, what are those graduate courses? Now, நான் சிங்கப்பூர்ல இருக்கிறது மட்டும் தான் நான் cover பண்றேன். Okay. Now, there are a number of universities in Singapore, public universities. In the slide la na verum public universities mattum da indicate pannirken. Okay, so these are the public universities in Singapore, and NUS is where I work. I've also given a hyperlink next to each one of them. So in the hyperlink la neenga poningena enna graduate programs in the university la offer பண்றாங்கன்றது இருக்கும் clear. Now, one good thing about Singapore, which I can boast about, of course, it should be true in other countries as well. You have all the information at your fingertip. You don't even need to contact anyone. You don't need to call anyone. Everything is available online in the public domain. So I encourage you to go in and check those websites to see what is the admission requirements. Okay, ஒவ்வொரு கோர்சஸ்க்கும் என்னென்ன admission requirement ன்னு போய் பாருங்க. Universities will also have an open house. The best thing is இப்ப எல்லாமே virtual open house ஆயிடுச்சு. Okay, so which means you can also attend the open house, okay, for all these universities from your home. Okay, Now, if there is something that you're not sure of, there would be contact details in those websites. You can write to them, okay, and they will respond promptly. Yeah. So we take our customers, which are prospect or applicants, prospective students. We take you guys seriously. So the response will be very prompt. Yeah. Now, in case you had missed open house, don't worry. You can write to them and find out from them if the sessions were recorded. Open houses முன்னாடியெல்லாம் ஒரே நாள்ல இருக்கும், காலையில இருந்து சாயந்தரம் வரைக்கும். ஆனா இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா சில நேரத்துல ஒரு 10 நாள் 2 வாரம் கூட ஓப்பன் ஹவுசஸ் இருக்கும். ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு நாள் ஒவ்வொரு காசஸ் ஆர் ஸ்கூல்ஸ் ஃபேக்கல்டிஸ் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. So if you had missed the open house, you can also write to them to find out if the recording has been done and if they can share the recording with you guys. Yeah. So அப்படியும் நீங்க பண்ணலாம். Yeah. So I encourage you to check out those websites. Yeah. Now, in addition to those public universities listed in the previous slide, there are a number of private institutions in Singapore. So these private institutions, they actually partner with overseas universities. Yeah, like Australia, UK, US. அவங்க கூட partnership இருக்கும். So your degree will still be from those affiliated universities. Yeah. So it is it's highly regulated. Singaporeல ஈஸியா வந்து உங்களால டிகிரி வந்து ஃபேக் டிகிரி எல்லாம் வாங்க முடியாது. Okay, so it's highly regulated. So that is another thing that you could consider. But the only difference is in the private institutions, obviously the fees would be higher and probably there are no financial aids given. Okay, that is another factor for you to consider. Now, there are different graduate courses. There's something called coursework, okay, which is similar to what we do now. There's also certificate courses and there's also research. Yeah. So you have different pathways. So வெறும் அந்த ME or MTech மட்டும் அப்படி கிடையாது. இங்க MSc ன்னு சொல்வாங்க. So அது மட்டும் கிடையாது. There are different pathways and the period will differ. Research, obviously, you may need to do a couple of modules and followed by a research topic. So அதோட admission requirement என்னன்றதை வெப்சைட்ல போனீங்கன்னா எல்லாம் கிளியரா இருக்கும். Certificate courses is like bite-sized modules, okay, because graduate certificate, I would say, is more for working adults. Assuming you're here in Singapore to work and you don't have the time to do a full-time or a part-time degree, you can do certificate courses. So ஒரு module ஒரு semesterல எடுத்துட்டு probably you spend a couple of hours every week. So at the end of the certificate, you will be given a certificate, right? At the end of the course, you will be given a certificate. Now, the good thing about it is once you have a few certs, right, you can stack them and you can graduate with a degree or a diploma also, okay, rather than doing it full-time or part-time. In the certificates, ella stack பண்ணிட்டு once it meets the so-called graduation requirement for a particular degree or diploma, you can do that also. Yeah. Next, the duration, of course, certificate na ஒரு semester இருக்கும். Okay, ஒரு semester is around like 13 weeks னு வெச்சுக்கோங்களேன். But if you're going for a coursework or a research, it's typically between 1 to 2 years, depending on whether you're doing it full-time or part-time. Now, and these are typically made up of lectures, seminars, group work, and all, and so on. Yeah. Now, for those graduate courses in those public universities, you have different financial assistances. For example, service obligation. Appadina, inga vandu MOEA for foreign students, right? In some of the universities, I wouldn't say all, in some of the universities, உங்களுக்காக subsidized tuition fee கொடுக்கிறதுக்காக subsidy இருக்காக service obligation னு ஒன்னு இருக்கு. You need to sign up for a service obligation. What it means is that it comes with its own terms and conditions. What it means is that you need to work in Singapore for a specific period. Yeah. So, and you also have tuition fee loans. Of course, it won't cover the entire 100%. Probably it would cover majority, maybe like 80% or so, for example. So tuition fee loans கொடுப்பாங்க. Maybe, of course, you need to pay from your own pocket. And the tuition fee loan, once you graduate, say 6 months after you graduate, is when the interest kicks in, which means while you're studying, it is an interest-free loan. But after you complete, the interest will kick in and you start repaying it from, hopefully you find a job by then and you pay. Okay. In addition, there's also a student work scheme. No, students with a student pass, generally, student pass na enadhu inga vandu neenga padikkiradhukaga vandirkeenga vela seiyakudadu illaya, but the university recognizes that there are students in need of financial assistance. So avungalukagave in the student work scheme nu irukku. So padichikitte vela seiyradhu. So but there is some criteria. You cannot exceed a certain number of hours a week. Why? Ungaloda focus padikkiradhula da irukanum, வேலை செய்யறதுல இருக்கக்கூடாது. ஸோ அதனால ஒரு லிமிடேஷன் இருக்கு, ஒரு ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் இருக்கு. பட் டியூரிங் ஹாலிடேஸ், when you're still here in Singapore, right, between the term break, அப்போ you can work full time during holidays. So அதுக்கெல்லாம் criteria இருக்கு. In addition to that, scholarships which is based on merit and other financial assistances. Now இதோட டீடைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியணும்னா நீங்க வந்து வெப்சைட்டுக்கு போனீங்கன்னா it clearly state what are the different forms of financial assistance that each and every university offers. Now, admissions typically happens twice a year, August and January. This is the typical time period. But again, for those admissions, what is the application deadline? Okay, other one than the website la dhaan poi check pannanum. Okay, and all applications are online. Yeah, fees, application fees are online. Ellame online da. Yeah. Now, admission criteria, of course, idella ungalku pudusu kadiyadhu, idella ungalku therinjirukkom. And I noticed that even GATE is recognized in Singapore. So again, go to the website, check out for the admission requirements and see what is expected before you apply for a certain graduate program. Okay, next, resources for upskilling. Now, coming from a university, upskilling, இது ரொம்ப தேவை. உங்களை நீங்களே மேம்படுத்திக்கிட்டே இருக்கணும். அப்படியே பி முடிச்சோமா அவ்வளவுதான், end of it. Okay, your learning journey அதோட முடிஞ்சிச்சா? கிடையாது. Okay, as you work, you are also expected, okay, to keep upskilling, sometimes reskilling as well. Yeah, so ஒரு ஏரியால இன்னொரு ஏரியா totally different இருக்கும். Okay, maybe a different industry also. Okay, so you have to always stay current. So the good thing is, இந்த ரிசோர்சஸ் நீங்க போனீங்கன்னாவே உங்களுக்கு நிறைய இருக்கும். ஓகே, ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் நிறைய இருக்கும். Some of it is free, some of it is paid courses. Why? Because the lifespan for any skill set, anything, okay, it's actually shrinking. So it is very important for you to continue to invest. Inimel investment na, think of yourself. It's in learning. You have to invest in learning and acquiring new skills. Okay, so lifelong learning, இத நான் திருப்பி சொல்லிட்டே இருப்பேன் என்னோட பிரசன்டேஷன்ல. வாழ்நாள் முழுவதும் கத்துக்கிட்டே இருக்கணும். ஓகே, அது மறக்கவே மறக்காதீங்க. ஓகே, that applies to me as well at this age. Okay, so கடைசி வரைக்கும், if I want to stay in workforce, okay, if I want to be a career woman, okay, wherever, at whichever level I go to, okay, in that pyramid la endha level ku ponalum, I need to continuously upgrade myself. I might be the CITO of a company, okay, but doesn't mean I stop learning. No, in order to speak to my subordinates, in order to interact, okay, engage, okay, my stakeholders, avanga bhasha pesi da aganum. So when I expect a junior staff to keep upgrading himself, how do I even communicate with them if I don't even understand what is happening around the world, right? So எல்லாருக்குமே இந்த வாழ்நாள் கற்றல்ன்றது எல்லா லெவலுக்குமே applicable. Yeah, now, so the good news is நீங்க எல்லாரும் வீட்ல இருக்கீங்க. Okay, your traveling time கிடையாது. You don't have to get ready to work. Yeah, so you have more time now. Okay, so use that time wisely. Okay, to broaden your skill sets. Okay, now the good news is many of these websites, right, have bite-sized courses. Bite-sized na சின்ன சின்னது, ரொம்ப பெருசா ஒரு 10 வாரத்துக்கு படிக்கிறதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. ஒரு வாரத்துக்கு probably ஒரு 2 மணி நேரம் அப்படிதான். Okay, so on the bite-sized modules நீங்க எடுத்தீங்கன்னா, you have a lot of quick videos. நீங்க யூடியூப் மாதிரியே தான், பாஸ் பண்ணலாம், ஸ்பீட் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம். ஓகே, ஸோ நீங்க அது உங்களோட ஃப்ரீ டைம்ல எப்போ வேணா நீங்க கண்டினியூ பண்ணிக்கலாம். யூ ஜஸ்ட் நீட் டு கோ அண்ட் சைன் அப் அண்ட் தென் register for those online courses. At the end of it, because mini quiz in இருக்கும், so most of it is like all MCQs, multiple choice questions தான். ஏன்னா அப்பதான் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் நீங்க புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டீங்களா இல்லையான்ட்டு. So at the end of it, once you fulfill that criteria, you will be given a cert, okay, and the certified stamp of approval from the universities like I've listed here, Harvard, Stanford, Yale கெல்லாம் போனீங்கன்னா அவங்க free online courses வச்சிருக்காங்க. Imagine you getting a cert, சிதம்பரத்துல உட்கார்ந்துக்கிட்டு a cert from Harvard University. Imagine yourself in that situation, right? It's a recognized university. So இதெல்லாம் is possible. Okay, you just need to go to those websites, search for something that interests you, take up those modules, finish it at your own pace, and then take up that quiz, get that the certified stamp, update your LinkedIn profile, update your resume. Yeah. Okay. Next, I know it's a long list because I thought the objective is not just hard skills, but also the soft skills. Bhuvanavum, Anithavum இத பத்தி பேசிட்டாங்க, but I'm going to list only a couple of them, although the list looks long, but you can read it at your own pace. Yeah. Now, first thing, grab opportunities. This is very, very important, and it worked for me. Don't wait for something big to occur. It will not happen overnight. Okay, so you need to start where you are right now with whatever you have. Okay, and you will get to something greater. Anitha சொன்னா என்ன பண்றது இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் இல்லை அப்படின்ட்டு. அப்போ நீங்க என்ன பண்ணலாம், ஸ்கூல்ஸ், ஏதோ ஒரு சின்ன கம்பெனியோ ஸ்கூல்ஸோ அவங்க கிட்ட போய் அவங்களுக்கு என்ன தேவை இருக்கு, okay, you can do it something for free. Okay, you can kill two birds in one stone. Okay, and you see that working, you put it into action. Okay, and that would give you a great satisfaction. Okay, so don't wait for something big. Okay, so இப்ப இருக்கிறதே நீங்க சுத்தி நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னாவே அப்சர்வ் பண்ணீங்கன்னாவே உங்களுக்கு நிறைய ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் இருக்கும். At the start of your career, don't give importance to the monetary rewards, because no pain, no gain. You have to sacrifice something to get something. Okay, இப்போ நீங்க ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷா இருக்கீங்க. Okay, it's easy to mold you guys. So என்ன ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் வந்தாலும் சேலரிய பிரதானமா வைக்காம அது செஞ்சா உங்களுக்கு மனநிறைவு கிடைக்குமா, can you make a difference in someone's life in the community, அதெல்லாம் கேட்டுட்டு அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி you grab those opportunities. Okay, it will come naturally. Once you do this, you will get better and better, and you will be able to achieve something greater in your life. Yeah. Next, okay, திறன்களை வளர்த்துக்கணும், that's given. Yeah. So one thing that I need to emphasize is that எல்லாருமே ஒரே okay, ask yourself, what is it that you need to do so that you stand out from the rest? So you need to see what is that the aspect that will make you look differently from the rest. Okay, so try to find out what is the competency that you need to work on that no one has. Yeah, so that you become more valuable, because once you are valuable in an organization, within an organization, you will be valued much more than that outside your organization. So உள்ளுக்குள்ளாரையே உங்களோட நிறுவனத்துக்குள்ளேயே எப்படி நீங்க அந்த மதிப்பை சம்பாதிக்கணும் அப்படின்றத முதல்ல பாருங்க. Okay, outside the organization automatically அது வந்துரும். Yeah. Next, the next thing that I want to do is integrity. Yeah? Now, what is important is எப்பவுமே இது அப்கோர்ஸ் இது வேலைக்கு மட்டும் கிடையாது, வாழ்க்கைக்கும் அப்ளிகபிள். நேர்மையா இருங்க, கன்சிஸ்டன்சி நிலைத்தன்மையோட இருங்க, அண்ட் நம்பகத்தன்மையோட இருங்க. ஓகே, அது இருந்ததுன்னா ஒன்ஸ் பீப்புள் ஸ்டார்ட் ட்ரஸ்டிங் யூ, ஓகே, they can count on you, okay, to deliver and to look after their highest interest. Okay, so அது எப்படி வளர்த்துக்கணும்ன்றத பாருங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ அஃப்கோர்ஸ் ஓவர் நைட் உங்களை அது ஓவர் நைட் நடக்காது, ஒரே நாள்ல நடக்காது. but you need to get there. You need to put in effort, and it is something that is mutual. You need to give in order to get it. Okay, so adanala that is something that you need to also develop that skill. Now, communication came up in the Q&A session. Yes. Now, when I say communicate effectively, what I meant was it can be very simple. ரொம்ப என்ன சொல்றது, பொம்பாஸ்டிக் வேர்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணி நீங்க கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணணும்னு கிடையவே கிடையாது. அது ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், ஒரு 1000ல ஒருத்தவங்களால மட்டும்தான் அந்த மாதிரி எஃபெக்டிவா அந்த மாதிரி பொம்பாஸ்டிக் வேர்ட்ஸ் வச்சு கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ண முடியும். மற்றபடி எல்லாருமே they will think simple தான். So your communication can also be very simple language. Okay, because you're communicating to someone else. Okay, it's not for you, it's to someone else. So you need the other person to understand what you're trying to communicate. So adanala communication can be very simple. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say is that, okay, two other things in this slide. Remember to challenge status quo. மத்தவங்க பண்றாங்களா அதனால நானும் பண்ணிட்டு போயிட்டே இருக்கிறேன். No, it doesn't work that way. This is one thing that will make you stand out. Personally, that works for me. So you need to look for opportunities. எதுக்காக இது செய்யறாங்க, ஏன் வேற மாதிரி செய்யக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சேலஞ்ச் பண்ணுங்க. சேலஞ்ச் பண்ணும்போது be prepared to also defend your ideas. நீங்க டிஃபெண்ட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா தான் people know that when you suggest something, when you pose a challenging question to them, right, which means they know that you are thinking. Okay, it's not just for the sake of asking or challenging them. Okay, so remember to defend why are you challenging the status quo. Okay, so this is something that you need to ask, and the asking questions, right, this is something that you need to do, so that by asking questions you also get to learn. Okay, rethink. Yeah. And last one, while we speak, எல்லாமே வேலை படிப்பு இதையே தான் சுத்தி சுத்தி இருக்கும். And we, in most cases, Anitha is one great example. At this age, I think she started off not long ago, probably like 1-2 years ago. At this age, she runs marathon. Okay, and she did not, and she started it, within the last 1-2 years. It's a great achievement. Put yourself, உங்க அம்மா இந்த வயசுல மேரத்தான் ரன் பண்றாங்கன்னா எப்படி இருக்கும்? நாங்கெல்லாம் உங்க அம்மாவோட வயசுல தான் இருக்கிறோம். So this is something that you need to take care of your physical and mental health. It's equally important. You need to remain sane. இங்க தெளிவா இருந்ததுனா தான், உடம்பு ஃபிட்டா இருந்ததுனா தான் உங்களால வேலையும் பார்த்துக்க முடியும், உங்க குடும்பத்தை பார்த்துக்க முடியும். So that is something that you should never forget. Okay, give equal importance to that. Now the next one is also, okay, this is another long list, but I'm going to touch on only a couple of them. Now number 15. Now this is something that you really need to equip. Yeah, because this is something that will never or less likely to be automated. As we speak, right, artificial intelligence, ennada machine neenga train pannalum, okay, automate pannalum, it will never replace a human in these aspects. So eppadi and the critical thinking skills, creativity, problem solving skills, your emotional intelligence, idella eppadi மேம்படுத்திக்க முடியும்ன்றத நீங்க பாத்துக்கோங்க. So these areas are something that the so-called automation or artificial intelligence or robotics, process automation, இது RPA ன்னு சொல்வாங்க, இதெல்லாம் வந்து ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணவே பண்ணாது. Okay, so நம்மளோட generation, including yours, okay, robotics will not take over the world for sure. It will automate and make our lives easier so that we can focus on those value added tasks. அதுதான் பண்ண போகுது, சரியா? So 15 is something that you need to work on. 16 is something for you freshies. Okay, be honest. Okay, be brave enough to say that you don't know. Okay, it's okay. People are willing to forgive you, okay, if you're being honest about it. Okay, even if there are criticisms, it's okay. Okay, it's a fact. Okay, that's how you learn. Okay, mentor பத்தி எல்லாம் பேசிட்டாங்க. Now I want to touch on two other things. Now we are talking about IT here, right? In case you're thinking it's only the technical skills that we're talking about, no, it is not right, true. There is something called functional skills, techno-functional skills. Now, where I am today, I started off as a technical staff doing coding, but I knew that IT you have to keep upgrading yourselves, That's why you, in the profile, the intro, you saw me, Bhuvaneshwari was sharing, right? Oracle, SAP, PeopleSoft, yeah, Java, .NET. Why? Because as a technical staff, I had that exposure to it, right? But one fine day I realized there is no way I can compete with the freshies, the technical staff. Why? Because they are so ahead of me, right? As you grow older, then how do you compete with them? I knew that this is something to do with the functional aspect of it. So techno-functional skills, if you look at it, even in the market, right? What does it mean? Technical, as the name suggests, functionality. So depending on the domain. Now, I work closely with the Office of Finance. So finance systems, finance or the business processes, okay, so that when there is a problem, I know how to solve financial problems. What is it that we need to do in order to solve the problem for finance users? Okay, that's a functionality. Idukku munnadi na student systems la irundhen. Okay, NUS full students open up பண்ணுவாங்க அந்த சிஸ்டம்ல இருந்தேன். So இதெல்லாம் இந்த functional aspect of it overnight ல கத்துக்க முடியுமா? ஆன்லைன்ல இருக்குமா? இல்ல, கிடையவே கிடையாது. All these you gain through experience. Okay, you have to work in that industry, in that organization, to equip yourself with those functional skills. Yeah, so இது உங்களுக்கு மட்டுமே தெரியும். Even an MNC company, right, trying to implement something for you, like Oracle or SAP or IBM, KPMG, PwC, இவங்கெல்லாம் MNCs தான். நிறைய clients பார்த்திருப்பாங்க. ஆனா உங்க இண்டஸ்ட்ரிக்குள்ள வரும்போது every client is different, and who is able to fill in that gap? You as a techno-functional guy, you will be able to bridge that gap between IT and business. So this is something that you may want to consider as well. But of course, இந்த ஸ்கில்ல வளர்த்துக்கிறதுக்கு கொஞ்ச நாள் நீங்க அந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில இருந்து அந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ல இருந்தீங்கன்னா உங்களால அதை எக்விப் பண்ண முடியும். And there would be no one to compete you in this aspect. Okay, now one last thing that I want to share with you: contribute to society. This is something that many of us forget. Yeah, now how can you contribute to the society? Don't forget, okay, that the society helped you to get to this stage, okay, in one way or the other. So you can do something on like community engagement project பண்ணலாம் உங்களோட community centers or நிறைய non-profit organizations இருப்பாங்க, like schools, hospitals. அவங்க கூட எல்லாம் நீங்க போய் கேட்கலாம் உங்களுக்கு என்ன தேவை இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு. அவங்க தேவையை நீங்க you can form a group and do something for them. Yeah, climate change, இதெல்லாம் buzzword இப்போ. So அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம்? Marginalized group, ஒதுக்கப்பட்ட கம்யூனிட்டிக்கு எப்படி செய்யலாம்? How do you integrate them? Okay, அதே மாதிரி ஹெல்த் கேர், எஜுகேஷன், அதே மாதிரி ஏஜிங் பாப்புலேஷன், நிறைய பேருக்கு வயசாயிட்டே இருக்கு. Although India might not see it as a problem, but aging population, many of the economy is aging faster than you think. So இவங்களுக்கெல்லாம் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? மென்டல் வெல்னஸ்க்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம்? Okay, food sustainability. So these are some of the topics that I'm just giving you, but there are so many out there which you can consider by giving back to the society. Now, one thing that I want to share at this juncture, which I promised Umayya that I would share during this session, in case you're wondering, like my hairstyle, is it a new trend in Singapore? It is not. But I take pride in saying that I shaved off my hair, I tonsured my head. Because there's something called Hair for Hope. Okay, Hair for Hope na enna? Inga Children's Cancer Foundation nu onnu irukku Singapore. So to raise awareness about cancer among children, there is something called Hair for Hope, where people poi motta adichikuvaanga. Okay, motta adichittu, and then as part of that, they will have a fundraising campaign, which means they will get their friends to donate to this Children Cancer Foundation. Okay, it didn't take much for me to do this. Okay, this is one way, this is the easiest way that I could think of to contribute to society. Okay, people tell me, comment me saying, oh, you are so brave, okay, because being a woman, sacrificing the hair, which is equated to something called beauty. This is nothing. Okay, so in any way possible, look around you guys, and then you see how do you contribute to society, yeah? And then join together as a group, because you youngsters have so much of ideas, innovative ideas, okay, to make this happen. Yeah. Next, okay, I have a request, since the dean is also here, HOD of Com Science is also here. Okay, I have a request for them as well. Now, what alumni, alma mater or Annamalai University can do to help you guys. Okay, now this is something that I'm sharing based on what is currently being done in NUS or in Singapore, because as a university we also have a part to help our graduates. Okay, this is a very difficult situation because university nradhu nariya பேர் நம்மளோட டீன், நம்மளோட HOD மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க. அவங்களோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், ஓகே, எப்படி how do you put it to good use to make you guys get through this difficult phase. Now, one of the things that I could think of is career fairs. Now, we have something called virtual career fairs where we bring in companies, okay, who want to hire graduates, right, fresh graduates. So on the career fairs, they would, there would be sessions like this, where they would be talking about their company and who should be applying and so on. So அந்த மாதிரி career fairs organize பண்ணலாம் Annamalai University. Next, there's traineeship and company attachments. Of course, this was covered by Anitha and Bhuvana earlier. So அதே மாதிரி தான் traineeship and company attachments, which means they can jointly, together with all those companies. Now, during this traineeship and company attachments is mainly to gain experience and nothing to do with the salary aspect of it. Okay, so some of you guys who are thinking of switching from non-IT to IT, okay, maybe you may want to try it out to see, does it really work for me or not? So traineeship is like a test bed madri, okay. So அதுக்குள்ள போய் உங்களுக்கு நிஜமாலுமே பிடிச்சிருக்கா, அந்த கல்ச்சர் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்கான்னு நீங்க டெஸ்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Okay, next, there could be jobs for graduating students, and some financial aid as well. So what we do here in NUS is that graduating students within NUS itself, not just companies alone, but within NUS itself, there's some initiative where students can apply, because we have projects, right? Nariya projects இருக்கும், but we always need some resources, right, to help us out. So instead of hiring them as part-time or full-time employees, we bring in graduates. So our freshies are no experience, but they'll be part of the project. So they will sit in all those meetings, and then they will help us out. They'll be our hands and legs, Madhi. So we'll just guide them. So on the job they are learning, and of course, together with that, they would be getting salary. Of course, it may not be as attractive as a full-time position, because if you go elsewhere, it could be like twice the salary. But then, on the permanent ஒரு வேலை கிடைக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இந்த மாதிரி உள்ளுக்குள்ளேயே யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்குள்ளேயே, ஏன்னா அண்ணாமலை யூனிவர்சிட்டியிலே நிறைய ஆஃபீஸஸ் இருக்கு, நிறைய பேர் தேவைப்படும் இல்லையா, சின்ன சின்ன வேலை செய்யறதுக்கு. அதுக்கு கூட ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் இது யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம் நம்ம. Next, yes, you can also do projects with industry. I'm sure the professors, the academia could be doing consultation work, doing projects with industry. So they can also engage students, to be part of this project. Okay, next, of course, this is given anyway. Curriculum have to keep up to date, but this is something that I'm seeing it happening recently. Verum engineering mattu irunda pattadu. Okay, so we are seeing a lot more interdisciplinary competencies. Even is it yesterday or day before yesterday? Now in NUS, engineering and School of Design and Environment, number architecture students, idu rendu interdisciplinary, which means you can take modules from both faculties, from both schools. Okay, so ஒரு skill set மட்டும் பத்தாது. So they are expecting you to be an all-rounder. Do you see that? So எந்த what the industry requires என்றது obviously academic staff க்கு ரொம்ப நல்லா தெரியும் because they are the first point of contact. So industryக்கு என்ன தேவை இருக்கோ அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணணும். என்ன மாதிரி டிசிப்ளினரியில தேவை ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி நம்மளோட கரிக்குலம் அப்டேட் பண்ணிட்டு so interdisciplinary courses so that people can take courses from both faculties, okay, so that when they graduate they can either choose engineering or they can choose design and environment. So anda madri. Okay, the next one is I do not know whether it is even feasible, but it has worked in Singapore. So there's something called alumni credits. So in the CET, continuing education and training courses, idella very short courses da. So enna பண்ணுவாங்க for alumni ku X number of courses free. They won't charge students for those courses, and that comes in the form of credits. Okay, so credits கொடுத்துருவாங்க. So alumni வந்து okay within 2 years or 5 years இந்த initiative இருக்கும். So within this period alumni can register for any of those short courses within that period, and they don't have to pay for it. Okay, so like I said, this is beyond money, beyond the financial aspect of it. This is to see how to groom our students, our graduates, our alumni to be leaders of tomorrow. And these are some of the things that is currently happening in Singapore, which I thought is better to share it with you guys. Okay, the next, or probably this is my last slide. People could be thinking, India la irukanuma velinatukku varanumanu. Okay, Q&A லையும் அது வந்தது. Okay, there is no right or wrong answer to this question. In fact, it's a very subjective question. It's a very tricky question. India is one, I would say it's the world's largest youth population. What do I mean by that? China could be, more in terms of population, but youth population India la dhaan irukku. And you guys can make a change. And there are more opportunities in India than you can think of, than you can imagine. Okay, being a developing country. Okay, now what I've observed is that in most projects where I worked with all those MNCs, usually the functional consultants are the ones here on site. Okay, but the technical consultants, the IT people, the ones who are doing the developers, right, the ones who are writing the codes to make it happen, right, are usually from India. They are offshore. They're not here on site. They are offshore. Okay, of course cost could be one of the aspect. Okay, cost obviously could be one of the deciding factor, but do not forget you guys have the skill set. Okay, and India, I can take pride in that. Okay, that Indians or India has that capability. Okay, it's there in our genes, I would say. Okay, so the technical resources, it would take a while to beat India in that aspect. Okay, so there are many opportunities in India itself. Now, when you look at the infrastructure, the amenities, okay, the salary, the money, the work culture, of course, ellame velinaatula rombave nalla irukum. Okay, but like what Bhuvana mentioned, friends, family, weddings, festivals, weather. Okay, of course, Singapore is very close to India, same as India. I cannot compare Singapore with US. Okay, so idella paakumbodhu I think staying in India may be the right thing to do. Okay, now in terms of salary itself, okay, in case if that is one of the factors that you're considering, if you work for a good product company, the difference in salary is very small. Okay, I would say nariya kadayadu. Don't forget, even though your income is higher overseas, the expenses is equally higher. So in terms of savings, okay, to match the kind of standard of living and the comfort like India, if the expenses are actually more. So India la kandipa and the standard of living and comfort is surely better compared to overseas. So due to a lot of uncertainties, my take is that you can start your career with roots in India. You start there. Okay, that's how we all started. Okay, we never jump straight. Okay, it's not because even when I in US, they needed someone experience, because my qualification is from India, right? Okay, I don't have a local degree. So the Indian experience, the experience in India matters. Okay, gain that experience. Okay, have that root in India, and then you see whether you want to move out, okay, as an organic growth to this strategy. Now, I have also seen my friends who are in IT going back to India as well. I see that happening as well. Like what Anitha mentioned, right? Your parents are aging, right? So you want to stay with them. And probably after a while, you may think that money isn't everything in life. Okay, the only thing that is stopping us at the moment, because we are like a sandwich generation, you know, we want to take care of our parents, aging parents, and our kids are all here, born and brought up here, to this kind of education system, to this kind of lifestyle. So we are sandwiched in between, and it's very hard for us to make that decision. Probably after our kids are married, well settled in life, I can say with confidence that we will surely go back to India. Okay, that's where the heart is. Okay, so probably you, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. You know what is the right thing to do, and then you do the right thing. Yeah. I think. Okay. Yeah. I've come to the end of my sharing session. So Q&A, Bhuvneshwari.
Yes, ma'am. Does Singapore offer jobs to freshers also, or only for experienced professionals?
Okay. Okay, this is going to be a tricky question. Okay. They do offer to freshies. Okay, but just remember, we will source for resources within Singapore first. Okay, within Singapore. Okay, only if we are not able to find a suitable resource in Singapore, then we extend it to foreigners, number one. Now, when we hire foreigners, of course, I've not covered on all those visa and all those details. I hope it was covered in another session. So that takes time. And the clearance process, what I heard was the advertisement has to remain open for at least like a month or so. Only if we can prove that the local resources are not suitable for it, then you can go beyond that to see whether you can find someone from outside the country. And again, there's a lot of clearance, security clearance, and so on. So if you ask me, freshies, yes, but how it worked for me is that, okay, firstly, if you want to work or study in Singapore and you have not done your GMAT, GRE, TOEFL, and so on, gain experience in India first, wait for a suitable opportunity to work in Singapore, and then see whether you want to study concurrently. Because once you have a local experience, pursuing higher education in Singapore could be easier as well. But yeah, maybe the requirements for someone with local experience could be different. Yeah, so I don't know whether I've addressed the question. The short answer is yes, provided the local resources are not suitable. Okay, but you know how the universities here are very aggressive, so our curriculum is up to date. So the fresh graduates here, will catch up much faster than you guys. So it's likely that we will find the local resources more suitable. Okay, yeah.
How do I decide which job to choose, ma'am?
Sorry, Bhuvneshwari, can you please repeat that question, please?
Ma'am, how do I decide which job to choose?
It is based on your interest. Okay, there's no hard and fast rule, right? because you guys are freshies, right? So you need to look at those career portals to see, where is the trend. You do online courses to see which one interests you. Okay, so when it comes to IT, it's an ocean.
The challenges of working woman both in workplace, home and society, and your advice to us.
Okay, that I think Bhuvana and Anitha addressed that already. Okay, we need, you see, we are staying away from our family, right? Ellarume Indiala da irukranga. Okay, it's just my husband and I here, right? And then my kids. Now, one good thing about Singapore is that it's easy to get domestic help from India. Okay, that's one good thing which you don't have it in the US. So under support system inge irukku. Plus, obviously, when it comes to the kids, right? Kids education, it's quite sort of demanding here. Okay, it's different from India. So adanala, as a working woman, you really need support from your family. Okay, adilana rumba kashtam. So and of course your peers as well. Okay, I should give it to my friends as well, because when I started off, right, because I have gone through many platforms, right? So under support system should also come from your own colleagues as well to help you gain that knowledge and experience. So அது ஒரு ஸ்லைட்ல நான் சொல்லியிருப்பேன், building block for a successful, like, you need to find a mentor, and the mentor you can find someone from within the organization itself who's willing to share with you all those trade secrets. So workplaceல அது இருந்ததுன்னா, once you leave that stress at work, so family வந்த பிற்பாடு, of course in my case I have a domestic help, okay, who can take care of the household chores. So that ways, I have less burden. Okay, but that's the beauty about living in Singapore. Yeah.
Thank you so much to all our seniors for sharing their valuable time and experience patiently to guide us. You are all standing example to us. Now we request our Dean, Dr. A. Murugappan sir, to give the concluding remarks for today.
Very good afternoon. So it has been an extended session, as Mr. Mahendra told, 2 sessions. So, but all the sessions were very impressive, right? And a lot of thoughts have been shared, right? So hats off to the galaxy of women stars today who spoke. Starting from Bhuvana Krishnamurthy, I could not attend. I apologize due to official meeting. I joined, I think, halfway through when Ms. Anitha was talking. And then, of course, I watched witnessfully when Ms. Amoudhavally Vishwanathan was talking. So thank you very much for sharing your valuable time with our students. And I hope the students will go through the YouTube link and watch later on and grasp the things what are needed to become successful in their life. And of course, the things they were telling what they are missing and what are the positives and negatives of being employed in a different country, right, other than India. So of course, domestic help is a difficult thing they were telling in US. So domestic help is becoming difficult in India also. So in fact, one of the greatest opportunities to go for work is to go as a domestic help in India, in which we can, in fact, of course, say after completing a BE, then ME, and then going to a private college. So we have so many colleges, nearly 500 plus colleges, engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu state alone. So after completing a PG degree, which is the minimum qualification for entering into a college as an assistant professor. So they are paid consolidated, a very, very meager salary, which domestic help earns much more than that, almost double that, by working in 3 or 4 houses. In fact, I can quote a servant maid who comes to a house and then work for just 2 hours, do the cooking, and then she gets say 6,000 or 7,000 salary per month. Likewise, she works in different sessions, maybe in the morning at one house, and then in the afternoon another house, and then in the evening another house, and then she gets nearly 25,000-30,000 very easily. Of course, you have to contribute, right, and work well, and then cook well, and then that's all there. So finding a domestic help in India is becoming very, very difficult nowadays. So because the job opportunities are there, increasing in India also, I should say. So that is an indicator of that, why we are not getting domestic helps. I do not know. So in fact, you should know, the students should know, not only they have to hone up their skills, and also they have to hone up their domestic skills, right? So they should know everything, the A to Z, what they should do, right? Starting from, say, cooking or washing or whatever it is, they should know. So everyone should contribute in the family. So now, because both the male and the female partner, they go for work and they have to share their work. And also another point I want to touch upon is that in the last decade or so, the number of divorces has increased, worldwide. And then that is, if you just take the communities, right, the social communities, the cross-section of each and every community, the number of divorce cases has increased. So that is because now both the male and the female partner, as I said, they work, and then there is a lot of ego clash, and nobody, they think this is her job, the husband thinks, and the wife thinks this is the husband's job. So it should not be like that. It should be give and take, right? The responsibility is both of them. So they have to share the work, and they have to shed their ego, and then only they can, the marriage life, the married life will be successful. So this is another point which I wanted to touch upon in this, for the youngsters, right? The students who are there, who will get married after they get settled in their life, maybe in their job. So again, I do not want to take much of the time. So I profusely thank all the three, Ms. Bhuvana, Ms. Anitha, and Ms. Amoudhavally, for sharing their valuable time and sharing very useful thoughts with our students. So thank you very much.